Hello, welcome everybody. We are starting the Awakening podcast, and today we have a special guest, Dragos. And I'm just waiting for him to join. I just texted him the link, and he's about to join this room. He's about awakening, meditation, and stuff like that. Also, his name is Dragos Folea. And he's going to share some of his experiences and insights and stuff he has to share about life. And I'm really excited about him joining me today. I've talked to him for the first time just a few days ago, 2 weeks ago or something like that. And then we decided to, collaborate, and I wanted to join him and invite him here on this podcast because, he's really interesting and has a lot to say. And for me, I can talk a little bit about what I've done in the past since uploading the other episodes on the podcast. I've recorded a few YouTube videos, just started out, of ideas that I got out of my head, try to gather information that I had and put it in, information like videos. So I recorded these and also uploaded them as a podcast edition. So you can watch me talking about that stuff, or just listen in on Spotify, SoundCloud. It's available everywhere now. And yeah, what else can I talk about here? I gotta check out. So I talk in the microphone. I got my microphone set up to the side here, not facing the camera. So I gotta watch out that I talk closely in the direction, at least, of the microphone. Where is Dragos? I've been texting him, and I don't know. He had. I thought he was ready already, so I already started going here anyway. Follow, of course, YouTube. Please subscribe and start following me and subscribing. You can follow me on the podcast on Spotify. That's my favorite platform, and it's that industry is growing on the Spotify platform. And I want to do actually continue this and do maybe twice, two episodes a week, and of the podcast. And I want to put out one video each day on YouTube. To grow this distribution of the information. The information that I talk about is mainly from my own experiences, that have been confirmed by other people's going through same experiences, and also elderly people who are way farther ahead have taught me over the past 8 years, and it's been a wild ride so far. In the awakening journey, each time you wake up more, and you see more and discover more and find out more things about you and yourself and what's going on around and in the world, physically speaking and metaphysically, which means also on the spiritual level, things have been cleaned up. The field, the source field, is much more calmer, and life's in general heading towards a better direction, but it's still a lot of chaos, because loose spirit running around. Everyone tries to control everything, and it's crazy and it's nuts, And what we got to do here in physical body, you got to remember, you always can be manipulated while you're in the physical body by spirits. Hey, Dragos, there is the guest, Dragos. How are we doing today? I cannot hear you right now, but I'm sure you will figure it out. Yeah. So now you see me, now you hear me?
Yep.
Now I hear you, now I see you. Okay, we are done. Now it finally worked.
Yes.
Awesome. Let me put it in full screen. And first I gotta take a sip.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
I'm doing the Donald Trump with 2 hands. Do you know, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Donald Trump drinking water. Yeah, actually, I started like talking 4 or 5 minutes before you joined, and then you joined in and the sound didn't work. So now we're here and the sound works. And to catch up on Donald Trump, I kind of just produced a video about where I explain, the system and all of that going on here on the planet. So
yes.
It's a bit related to that. So yeah.
So what did you say about the system?
I can't remember actually. You have to watch the video.
Well,
yeah.
I will. Just send me.
Yeah, because I produce like every day. I was like making the commitment beginning of the week. I want to upload a YouTube video every day. So I actually did it. Pretty cool with that. And now I got my podcast. This podcast will be distributed to Spotify. Pretty awesome. I just set it up like a couple hours ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so a lot going on. And what do you have to say or share? What do you have to share with the world?
Well, usually how it goes, it's usually the people come to me for help, like for me to share my information to them. And what they usually come for, it's firstly they come for meditation. Because they hear about it, that I do it, that I practice it, and they just want to like know about it. So I do that at the beginning. Like I teach them the fundamental tools, and from there on, I'm just letting them know what they want to know.
Yeah, exactly. So, like we met each other, like we've seen each other like before, but we haven't really talked one-on-one. And so just 2 weeks ago, we talked for the first time and decided we were like on the exact same path. I'm doing the same, helping people out with their awakening and teaching meditation. And so it's pretty cool that we came together. And we've been so excited. Last time we talked, we talked on for like 1.5 hours or something like that. So who knows how long it's gonna go today. But I think we have a limitation from the software here to be in the room for like 1.5 hours. I think I set it up, and then we would have to restart. But I think 1.5 hours would be enough.
Definitely. Well, we will see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yes, it will be great.
So maybe we can maybe cut it up and record another episode. We can make like 20-minute sections or something like that, if we have the time in our observance. But anyway, just go on, just talk whatever you'd like to talk about.
Yeah. So firstly, to tell a bit about my journey, it all began with meditation. I was always fascinated about superheroes and just like superpowers in general, and let's say the uncommon. And what was fascinating for me is when I saw monks meditating and like practicing and just being in temples. I was always in let's say curious about it. And nobody was there to teach me, and nobody knew about this. So I started teaching myself, and with years, I just got better and better at it, till the point that people were coming to me to help them. So this is how I started my journey, and meditation was my fundamental tool that got me to the point where I am now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I saw you're like active in photography. I just started out, amateur photographing because I've been into acting and arts and photography and acting, camera, making movies. It's all interrelated kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So taking pictures is also like a kind of meditation. You have to be like observant, like how can I put this into angle and this and that. You have to have a wild imagination and be with the environment and be just present and to catch the right moments. Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, how did you get into photography, and what it's your journey like, and what are you doing on a daily basis there?
Mm-hmm. Well, to be honest, this photography that I'm doing is just a side job. Mm-hmm. that I found because it was with traveling, it was with photography that I never did before, and I just some new adventure. So I got in it, and so far it's good. I learned a lot of stuff, and it just got me to the next level, to say so. Yes, and when it comes to meditation and photography, it's the same, because you have to be really present when you do this kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's just a hobby, and it's just something that I do as a side work. My true passion is this, what we're talking about, just meditation, awareness, helping others.
So we're in the same level here. Yeah, to me, like, photography is like a hobby, not about making money, but my passion is really has been from early on. I knew kind of I want to teach people, because I noticed things are quite a lot of mainstream people don't even realize during their lifetime what it's going on, and that's a pretty sad situation. So and I found out about all of what's going on, and
mm-hmm.
for myself, I found it out for myself, and I made it kind of my mission to share it with people, and build a community, and just start a movement, and make this world a better place. I also encourage people like to become vegetarian, at least, and the best would be to be vegan, so there would be no more harm and no more bad frequencies, and so much hate, and all these oppositions going on, left, right, red, blue, mm-hmm. black, white. What the fuck? It doesn't matter, man. Just become one with yourself, and everyone has like the answers within themselves, but we are like people. We can guide you or show you steps how you can do this quicker.
Yes, well, that's all true, and that's all very nice. However, I think the most important step is not how, but the willingness to do it, the willingness to want to get there. Because what I saw so far is that most people, they go on autopilot, or their lives, they just go on autopilot with what they're doing, their daily job, their daily routine. They're just following what other people are doing, just because they want to fit in, and they just want to be, let's say, loved, because this is the main goal for everybody. And we just hide it in one way or another. We want attention, affection. To the end, it all comes to being loved. So this is what we seek. And from what I saw, only a few want it, and only a few have the courage to actually go for it. Because what we're talking about here is the process of awakening, of, let's say, evolving. And this may sound good at this level that we are at the moment. However, this process of awakening is a destructive process. So this means you have to let go of that person that you were before, and let go of all the limitations and beliefs and just little habits that you had in order to get to the next level. And for most people, this is the most scariest part, that they literally have to die. Okay, not literally, not physically, but as in the reality has to die and a new reality has to be born in order for them to change.
Yeah, that's a good metaphor.
Yes. And also in my life, I experienced this. I had many times where my reality was kind of like bad, or like I was suffering, but it was still kind of comforting, to say so. And I only changed when the level of pain was greater than the level of comfort. Only then I changed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for most people, this needs to happen. Either they awaken by curiosity, or they awaken by suffering. It's one way or the other.
By force. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Because what I saw and what I read in some books, the soul gives little nudges to the people, like to the ego, to the ego personality complex, that they want to go. The soul wants to have and do certain things, like they want to experience something, and if the person doesn't go that way, the soul gives a little bit of like push to guide the person to that direction. And if the person doesn't listen and continues to his path, the soul will just like give more and more nudges till the things become really clear. For example, one of the things that happens is crisis. You lose your job. Some bad things happen that we consider bad, but these are actually things that move us to where we should go, to the first place.
Mm-hmm. And I like what you said. You first got to start by believing in yourself and your own ability, not like believe that somebody else does something for you or somebody else frees you. That's like the trick, the catch. You have to deal with yourself and believe that you can, because I've seen a lot of people who act like, yeah, these gurus in these caves, and it's of course they are the enlightened ones, but I would never be able to do this. But everyone has the possibility, but you just gotta start with yourself and get this process going. And once you get the engagement and start awakening, it starts snowballing, and you get more and more aware and sentient and fulfilled.
Yes, that's true. From what I saw, from teaching other people to meditate, I saw that confidence was a really important thing to have, because meditation is easy. You can do it every day. You can walk in meditation, sitting, whatever. It's just being present. However, people didn't have the confidence to do it, because they were like thinking, oh, I'm gonna fail, oh, this will not be good, and they just literally lack the confidence.
Or I don't have the time, or this and that.
Yeah, that's just literal excuses that they make up so they don't feel uncomfortable.
So they don't have to confront themselves, basically. Yeah, it's self-confrontation. It's a big part.
Yes, and you need a lot of courage for this.
Yes, I've heard a lot of people talking about that. Accepting your weaknesses, your good parts, your bad parts, or dark spots, light spots, whatever. And just accept it and observe what's happening.
Yes. Well, I think this behavior comes from, let's say, duality. Because in this society, we are really running away from the negative, from the pain, from the discomfort. We're running away in all ways. Like we always seek pleasure. We always seek, let's say, happiness.
Yeah, exactly. This duality mind that if not this, then that, or vice versa.
Yes. And what basically happens is we're not taught, or like we're not giving the mindset to know that, okay, even if it seems negative at one point, that doesn't mean it will be negative. For example, training. You train, you have pain, that may seem negative, but after that you get stronger. So it's just a process.
Yeah, it's like a matter of perspective. Like, do you
Definitely.
see things from your own little unimportant perspective, or from the whole?
Yes. Yes, it's also because we're just judging everything. We think that things should be in a certain way, and we think this from our limited perception. And when life does its play, then we judge it, we make it wrong, we get scared, but we don't know the bigger meaning of what's happening. If we're lucky enough, we only find it out after it's done. Like, there are certain steps, then you come to a great place and you realize, oh, this is why that bad thing needed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, all the obstacles and the abuse and stuff like that also makes the soul or yourself stronger and makes you grow, but it can be like too much can also be harmful, you know.
Yes, definitely. If it's too much, it can be overwhelming. And if it's overwhelming, you're not growing. You just get destroyed. You're not getting destroyed, but you get into apathy. Like, you don't want to do anything anymore.
Yeah, it gets people sick.
Definitely.
Right.
I was just watching now.
Like, on the soul level, it sickens this, you know, the frequencies, the spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's especially the body and the mind, because most people suffer from their patterns. I was watching just a podcast now from
the pattern. Did you say pattern? Patterns. Yeah, like thought patterns.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, continue. That's a great topic.
Yes, and I was just watching now a podcast from Joe Dispenza, and he was telling that the same thoughts, the same patterns create the same chemicals, and the same chemicals create the same results. Like the chemicals of stress, if you live constantly in that stress mode, those hormones, those chemicals will literally destroy your body over time. And this is what happens to most people. They just live in constant stress, and they're not even aware of it.
Yeah, I had this in the past. Like, I was in my younger years, you know, during school also, I was like so stressed out all the time. I was, you know, never feeling happy, and it was so disturbing. And when I finally, you know, got out of all this trouble and started to relax, I started having like fulfillment that I was seeking for. You know, it's not like, you know, getting out there, you know, working this and getting this goal done and that and this and that. You know, it's every time, you know, all the time being stressed out. It's really damaging for people.
Yes, it is. Especially that we're not built for this. We're built to have a little amount of stress. For example, a deer that is being attacked by, I don't know, by a tiger or something. Yes, that animal will have the stress response enough for it to escape and to run away.
A short period of time, and then it drops again. And life is made. That's kind of what I talked about in the system episode. Is like, the whole society is structured like that. So people have to have like 2 jobs, 3 jobs, just to barely survive, to be constantly stressed out. So they stay in that fear mode. So they are like locked in and can't, you know, escape this rat race and cannot start to relax and start to wake up and have time to meditate. You know, it's intentionally made like that.
Yes. And that's true. The whole system, most people, they say that the system is not working or is broke. Actually, the system was designed like this, was designed to work, to keep us at the survival level. Because, for example, if you're always worried about where the next meal is going to come from, or always worried about the rent or stress, you cannot think about, you know, what's this life about, or why am I here, or who am I?
Yeah, get in that creation mode, like create yourself.
Exactly.
And also, what you wanted to talk about with the chemicals that you just mentioned, I had this picture in my mind of, you know, the water molecules of this Dr. Masaru Emoto experiment, where he like put words onto water bottles or glasses, and then he froze the water particles, And if you had like love and beauty and stuff like that, the structures were perfectly aligned and perfectly wonderful shapes. And if there was like anger and hate and stress, the molecules were like totally destroyed. And this is like kind of what happens, as you said, like it's programmed into the water, and the water molecules have also some intelligence, and then they put this information out to the chemicals, and the chemicals then destroy the body, and then the body destroys the soul.
Yeah. Well, yes, that's all true. However, the soul doesn't get destroyed.
Yeah, it does. It was just, it sickens it. I didn't mean to, it doesn't get physically or something like that destroyed, but it exhausts you and it abuses you on a soul level. So
yes,
it enhances you kind of that way.
Yes, definitely. It's just something that we should be aware of.
Yes.
In our daily life, because everything that we put out there affects us, even if we're not conscious of it.
And also, if you're like, becoming aware of situations or information like this that we are like sharing here, it's not to get in that opposing mode, like, oh, I'm getting angry about, the elites or this and that and these people. You just accept it, and then, go within yourself and be focused on your well-being or whatever, Don't put the energy or stuff like that towards other bad guys.
Well, yes, that's all true.
For example, I remember a couple of years ago in Germany, there were like these, not like riots, but meetings once a week in like 130 different cities in Germany. And people were meeting up and, just basically talking about these stuff that is going on. And, everybody could just walk up to the microphone and say something. And I saw, instead of people trying to unite and spread love, everyone was just, putting out their anger, and everyone was making everyone more angry, And it was like, this isn't the solution. It's great to inform people, but, we got to work on the solution, and the solution lies within each individual. It's just through this system, people have been brought out of their own confidence and self-consciousness.
Yes. Also, what you said about the people that they choose to be angry instead of having an elevated emotion. I don't know if you know about the book Power versus Force.
No, a book?
Yes. Do you know about it?
No.
Oh, so in the book was specified. Also in the book, it's there you can find the levels of human consciousness, and it was saying that people that operate at a low level of consciousness, which is like fear, hate, just like greed, just lower levels of consciousness, everything that they do, they need to put force in it. They need to work hard to get it. And people that operate on a higher level of consciousness, which is acceptance, courage, love, enlightenment, which is the highest, everything seems to work in their favor. Everything seems to just get aligned, and things just get done more easy, because they're, as the doctor was saying, the people that have a higher state of consciousness, they're using power instead of force to create their reality. So if, for example, those people would know about this and they would choose another emotion or another state of being, if all of them, they could have done that, they could have been so powerful that things would have been changing much, much faster than using force. What do you think about this?
Yeah, well, you can't force change. You have to, produce from the power within. Yeah, the word power is better than force. Exactly, I would say. Reach within your own powers. Increase your power level, your energy level, and then it will come out, and not, out of weakness, force something, then it doesn't hold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's just something magical that happens when we get into elevated, let's say, emotions or state of beings. Everything just happens like magic. You get healed. Everything is working in your favor. You're there at the right time, at the right spot. It's just something amazing that happens. I've experienced this in my own life, and I also saw the opposite, where I was in a bad mood, and then suddenly everything, I just became more clumsy. Like I was hitting my foot, I was like there at the wrong time, at the wrong place. So it's so interesting how just changing your emotion or changing your perspective can influence your reality instantly.
Yeah, changing your perspective. That's a good spot.
Yes. However, it's pretty hard to do that if you just know one perspective, which is the one that society taught you.
Yeah, and that's the one like you're attached to, like your ego perspective.
Yes.
I've also had like a coaching education in NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and there's like these meta models where you like view situations and then you like go into the other person, view it from their perspective. That's what you could do with like personal relationship situations, or if you think like you have a big problem, view it from bigger distance, look from the moon down on earth and see if you can find yourself, your little insignificant spot, how big of a problem is that now, or even take it further out. That's kind of a method to change perspective. Or if you have like angry voices inside of your head, try to make that voice that is talking you down sound like a Mickey Mouse voice. Imagine it in your head and put it somewhere really small in the end of your head, and just imagine like a little Mickey Mouse voice, and then you just laugh about it, and then you're not angry about it anymore. So you don't take it personal. Those are like some little techniques I've learned in the past from that method, that could help you throughout your daily lives in little situations, for example.
Yes. Well, those are very efficient ones, because I've been using them also. I didn't study NLP. I just discovered them by myself. Just like giving, for example, one time when I was younger in high school, I had a lot of social pressure on me. Just like get a girlfriend, do this, do that, all of this stuff, and I just was feeling so much stress. And in one of my meditations, I just imagined going out of the planet, somewhere near Jupiter. And suddenly I just felt relaxed. I just felt good, because I was no longer in their play, in their game. I was like outside of the planet, like, okay, there are no rules, no expectations, no nothing. Hope, I feel amazing.
Perfect state. Yeah, exactly. And this is also like, if you're doing this, it's not like you just imagine it. It's also like a part of your spirit outside of the body, also flows there and is there, It just takes a couple seconds to project out, and it gets you in that mode, and you feel more relaxed and better all over the place, and it's just amazing what you can do. But you just have to believe in yourself that you can do it. So This was a great example that you just gave.
Thank you. I think one of the hardest parts for everybody is just managing their mind, just like being aware of it, and not just like let it go on autopilot. Because
exactly what you said, like autopilot, like that's what I observe. Like people are, I don't know how old they are. I'm not trying to categorize anything, but still looking like 5-year-olds, because they are like stuck in some programs running, and it's like automated behaviors that are controlling them, and it's funny to see sometimes.
Yes, and I like it that have all the response are automated. That something happens, they already have it. The response is already there. It's like automatic. It's like
this fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets triggered. And yeah, let's talk about triggers, because this is like kind of mind control, what we're just talking about, and it's like the whole society is brought up under mind control, and they are not unaware of it. And these behaviors can be triggered by sounds, colors, flashing lights. This is like what they use in the news. Always the same jingle, always the same announcement sounds, and then alert, red, flashing lights, this, that, and you immediately subconsciously go into that fear mode.
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, what basically happens is when you watch TV, your brainwaves switch from beta, which is the conscious mode, to alpha, and sometimes even theta, which is almost like deep sleep.
So it goes directly in the subconscious.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Yeah. It goes directly into subconscious, and you just don't know. I don't know, for people, it may happen that you have a panic attack and you just don't know where it comes from. Mm-hmm. The body just like goes into panic mode. Mm-hmm. This is because all the fear that you just saw on the news just got into your brain, and your body reacted because of it.
Yeah, I have a funny story about that, because Hamburg City, like 2 years ago or 1 year ago, mm-hmm. There was like this, where all the politicians from the world come here to meet, and after that there were like riots, or before that, and it was supposed to be like the second most dangerous place in the world after Iraq and Afghanistan. And I was like, I didn't know about this because I'm not listening to the news, And then I just drive downtown exactly to that spot that's supposed to be so dangerous. And there were like a couple of people walking around, fences and cars blown up and stuff like that. But it wasn't like dangerous or anything. It was just there have been like riot times for like a couple of hours, people throwing like firebombs or whatever and throwing around trash cans and stuff like that, but not too serious. And then I came back and I talked to my parents on the phone. I was like, is there anything going on? And she's like, yeah, man, it's pretty dangerous. Like, you're not supposed to go there. I'm like, well, I didn't hear about it, and I didn't get hurt, so don't listen to the news. It's all fake news. So the news is fake news, and what people call conspiracy are probably real news.
Well, the news is always over-exaggerating, so there's nothing new in this. But if we're talking about like programming, I just want to tell something that I realized here while doing my work. So here I meet a lot of people and a lot of families, from different countries, different type of kids, like from small to big to like teenagers, all of them. And I observed something interesting. The kids, starting from, 1 to 10, they just love everything. They're just having fun. They're good. And suddenly, after they become teenagers, like, 13, 14, 15, they stopped talking. They just hated everything. And they just changed. Everything changed for them. And I was like thinking, why does this happen? Why this sudden change?
They always say, it's puberty.
Yes. Well, I have a better answer than just puberty. What happens is, okay, first I need to give a bit of context. So, usually at our beginning of our childhood, from year 0 to 7, your brainwave is in theta. So in this 7-year period, from 0 to 7, that's where all the information about this reality and about this life is being stored in your subconscious mind.
Yeah, like 95% or something like that.
Yeah, so basically
you're absorbed like a swarm, like
a sponge.
Like a sponge, yeah.
Yes. After that, from 7 to 14, you're in alpha state, which is almost between sleep and wakeness. It's like in meditation. And after 14, you get into beta, which is the conscious state, which is what we have. And what I realized is that while they are young, they're just absorbing all the programs from their family, from their mother, from their father. Usually there are negative programs, which is just criticism, which is you're not good, you shouldn't do this, all this programming that
like a child hears like a million times no before he's like 6 years old or something like that. I've read in a very famous, very good book. It said it's like 300,000 times or something like that before you turn 6 you heard no. It's so crazy.
And all of these programs, and they just kick in when you become conscious, like when you're in a beta state. All these programs now they run in the subconscious mind, and then you don't realize, okay, why is your kid like that? Because you programmed your kid 14 years. Now your kid is like you. So, and they don't realize it. They're just like blaming the kid. They're just telling like, oh, why do you do this and why do you do that? They have no idea that
this is where the cycle begins and continues what we talked about earlier. Like, instead of being angry with the other person, see what you can do with yourself.
Yes. Well, this level is very high level. You need to understand the other person. You need to understand yourself. And how can you do this when you have no idea how you function?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always say. You first got to understand yourself. And if you understand yourself, you can understand other people and animals and this and that better,
Yes.
But you got to figure out your own energies first.
Yes. Well, not mostly about energy. First, I think it's important to know your biology and your psychology. This is also extremely important. After that, you can get to the next part, the energy. Because it's all interrelated.
Yeah, exactly.
Like most people, they have no idea about this. They have no idea about their body, how it functions, how hormones work, how cells work, and then the next level, how their mind works. So they have no idea about this.
Also, that connected with the body and mind is also like the eating. Like if you're going vegetarian, vegan, it really affects your consciousness in a positive way, and you start to realize that after just a couple of weeks, if you stop eating meat. I was a heavy meat eater. I was kind of like forced to eat meat, and when I was a young child, I was like, "Yeah, I'm a vegetarian. I don't like meat," but I then had to eat it, and after you try it for a couple times, suddenly you adjust to it, and you get it going, and you start eating it because then it's common in culture and stuff like that. But then after I left school, I started going vegan, and it affected me so tremendously. I was so angry. I was eating like 3 times meat a day, and I was always angry and frustrated all the time and stressed out, and I didn't know where it came from. And then after a couple of years going vegan, it came to my mind really that I was eating all the suffering and the fear and the anger from the murdered animals. It's that energy is stored inside the meat. It releases toxins that get injected into the meat when they die, and then you eat it, and it gets into your system, and it just lies there in your organs for like 10 years or something like that. It just it's crazy what it does to you. So just a little side note here.
Yes, definitely. Well, to be honest, for me, I'm also vegetarian, but have nothing against other people, that want to eat meat or want to do anything. It's just their option.
Yeah, I'm also like that. My close friends are like always like eating meat next to me. Like do your thing. It's your choice, but I don't want to. That's the kind of thing also what we talked about earlier. You don't want to force something on people.
Exactly.
It's more like lead by good example, and people get curious themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also about meat, I don't like this, how to say this, industrialized meat, where it's just like farms and farms and farms. Because, as you said before, it's just like you can feel the suffering and the pain and all of this. However, when it comes to hunting, that is okay, from my opinion. Because hunting is like the animal is in its natural state. and when it dies, it just dies in a few minutes. Like, just like done.
Yeah.
And that kind of meat, is good because it's natural. It comes directly from Mother Nature.
Well, if you want to go in the crazy route, what I discovered, that around the world, these whatever people starting to introduce cannibalism. I've discovered something like that, Yeah, and that's getting really crazy. There's about to be like restaurants where they serve, human meat. And that's, getting a little bit too crazy,
Yeah, it's the same people that started with the flat Earth stuff.
No. I mean, it's like the people that rule the world, engaging in this.
Well, this kind of activities will not last anymore because we're in a time of change, and this change is accelerated.
Yeah.
And
I actually saw a video where they discovered how to replicate meat. Actually, they take just a few stem cells out of the meat, and then they can grow it in the lab for like 2 weeks or something like that. And it's like normal meat. So that's like an option that will be like available in the near future, like replicators where they grow it inorganically. And also they discover always new methods to make really meat like vegan meat. So meatless meat, but that tastes exactly like that. It's crazy what they can do already, I never taste the difference. I always, when I eat my vegan supplies, now I eat burgers and all kinds of stuff and hot dogs, and to me it tastes like the same like as I remember eating meat.
Yes. Well, that vegan meat, I'm okay with that. That's all fine. But it's like, how to say, not processed, like lab grown meat. I'm really curious what kind of effects it will have on human health.
Yeah, because that's it's getting more and more inorganically. I've seen actually in the Netherlands they grow tomatoes on sticks, in not even in real like earth material. It's all grown on plastics, and then there's some tubes running into that stem and feeding it nutrients, so the vegetables and stuff like that doesn't even have the energy from the sun inside. It's just chemical, and it just materialized stuff. It just looks like something, but it has like no nutritional value. And this is like also what's happening more and more. They this Monsanto company, I'm sure you probably heard of that. They try to get the semen out of the seeds out of the vegetables and fruits, so you can't regrow them yourself and stuff like that. So it's crazy what they're doing. So I'm always believing in the best is to eat locally and self-grown, and the stuff comes from the earth and has been absorbing energy from the sun. This is what we really want to get. Or if you're not getting the nutrients, I always say start with sun gazing. Just look into the sun, but with your eyes closed, and you can absorb energy through your pineal gland, and it can also help you with like losing weight or like reducing hunger feeling.
Yes. Well, that's different ways of just eating energy, because this is what food it is. It's like solid energy that we need to process, we need to dissolve and absorb. So
we want to like consume and fuel our energy, so the body converts it. And the consciousness and the body converts it then. So
yes. Well, the sun gazing is okay, and all of this fueling with energy. However, most people are not yet at that level, so they can do it. Because the more you evolve, the more you open up, the more energy it can go, you can absorb. So if you absorb a lot of energy, then you don't need that much energy from the outside, which is like usually food.
Yeah, I noticed that. To me, I'm like getting less and less hungry over the years. So I'm kind of, although I've gained a little bit, I'm try to get as much calories as possible with like as little food as possible, because I'm kind of, not so hungry anymore.
Yes.
Always slow. I have, my cat always reminds me of, we gotta go eat. Then I have to feed. And then I have to feed her, and then I know, oh yeah, I gotta eat too, man. It's been like 8 hours or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, intermittent fasting. Have you heard about it?
Yeah. I've done this like 10 years ago. I found out about this, like fasting for like 1 day a week, or just having a period throughout the day where you just eat like 4 to 8 hours, and that time window is the only time you eat, or you can just take 1 day off in 24-hour periods.
Yes. For me, I've been doing this for like 2 years, and it's just fantastic. Usually I really love to eat, and I used to eat a lot, and I didn't know why I would like feel heavy or sick, or like, just like these symptoms when you overeat. And then I found out about this. I tried it, and suddenly this, like, how to say, hunger suddenly disappeared. Like now I can go even like a few days without eating.
Yeah, I've done that also, like a couple days without eating, and the body just adjusts to it, and it raises your vibrations also, and it makes your spirit stronger and makes it come out after you stop eating for a day.
Yes.
Also, the body has to use its own resources.
Yes. Also, you get purified, because what happens is all the energy that is no longer used for digestion, it's used for maintenance.
So exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So all the energy it's used for detoxification, for repairing, for all of this.
Other than just digesting, because otherwise the body's just digesting food, and and it's so, and that's also what people tell me who fasted, like started getting more energy after they started eating less.
Yes, definitely. And what I saw, I think a few years ago, I'm not sure if the information is correct, but it was something like 70 to 60% of our bodily functions are to detoxify all the processes that happen in our body. So imagine that everything that happens in our body, like mostly half of it, is to detoxify or get rid of the substances that are, how to say, are the result of some process, like breathing or like digestion or something. All of these chemicals, they need to get outside of the body.
Yeah, just being in a major city or just living in a city is like so unnatural and so harmful for the whole system. So that's why, these Amazon folks, folks like in the Amazon forest, not like Amazon Jeff Bezos, and Aborigines, these tribes don't want to have to do anything with these civilian people, because they are fulfilled and happy with living in the moment, living where they are, and not, always wanting more, greed, and, eating over what is necessary and stuff like that. It's also a point.
Yeah. Well, usually what happens with the cities, if you just mentioned it, it's, I think we talked about it last time, other people's energy influences us. And also our energy influences other people and our surroundings. So what happens when you go into a city? Imagine like the collective energy of that city will affect you, even if you want it or not. Because if imagine all the city having the energy like a cloud. So if the energy is generally negative, it will be like a black cloud, and you just go in there. And if you live there, you will absorb it even if you want it or not. So that's why these kind of things happen when you go into the city. And that's why, for example, if you leave the city where there are few people and where there is a lot of nature, you suddenly feel good. You suddenly feel more stress relieved or clearer of mind.
Yeah. I'm also, looking forward to moving out a little bit off the major city again.
Yes. Well, also my plans are just get a cabin somewhere in the woods, grow my own food, completely sustainable.
Yeah, that's what the way to go. Doing. Yeah. Also, Portugal is like a good place for that, apparently, because it's very cheap, and you have sun, you can grow your own fruits and vegetables.
Yes. Well, I've been to Portugal 2 years, and I must say that I haven't found people or a country that it's so elevated as Portugal. Never. Like their vibration is so high. And I just met, for example, one little thing when I was in Portugal. I was just searching for events in a big city, in one of the biggest cities in Portugal. Just, general events like what's going on in the city and all of this. And I just found most of the events that were happening were like just like crystal healing, shamanic, yoga,
wow, amazing,
meditation, all of this, and I was like shocked. I was like, oh my god, these people are really evolved, and like the let's say the spiritual side is really evolved here, and I could feel it in all of Portugal. So yeah, definitely go for it. And also, like, I think I would consider also Portugal as a place to live there or to build there or something.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Spain or Portugal. I've actually been on holiday a couple times in Portugal, but a lot of times in Spain. But
yes,
I've just researched. A couple months ago, I've been on and off researching the topic of people living on their own terms, like what you call that, self-sufficient,
sustainable living,
self-reliant or something like that, where you grow your own vegetables and stuff like that. And there's also people on YouTube filming and then blogging about it. Yeah, I'm not the guy to be building up a house myself, and that'd be too complicated for me. But I'd like to have my own vegetables, even actually when I was very young, I don't know if I heard it on the news or my dad told me or he read it somewhere on the news or somewhere, that the Queen and the royals and all of that, they only eat their own vegetables and fruits, and even if they go to different countries, they let only their own homegrown
organic food
flown there to wherever they go. And this, why are they doing this? Why do we have to get the cheap stuff from the supermarket or that Monsanto stuff, and they get their own stuff? So there's like the clue.
Well, everything is planned.
Yeah, and I'm also I'm like here the crystal guy, and I'm in one video I said the Queen, she's wearing like this huge crown, she's got like these big ass diamonds on her head, and I said it's not like just for fun or to look pretty or something like that. These diamonds and stones are real energy generators, and they increase your energy, your abilities, and there's like stuff going on the metaphysical level that these normal people are totally
unaware of. Yes. I heard that like especially diamonds, they amplify intention. Like it's a huge amplifier of intention. So I even heard it from my masters. They were telling that they use diamonds to to amplify.
Yeah, and it rejuvenates the body also.
Yes.
It keeps you young. That's why these people with their jewelry on apparently are 100 years old, and sometimes they look like they're 50 or 60. Why are they not dying? That's what these people sometimes think. He's already 100, and this politician, this, that. Why is he not dying?
Well, if you eat right and you don't have stress, you can live a long life.
Yeah. And those are just some, basic questions that should be coming up. Those are like questions I had as a child, and then I pursued on and discovering answers to these questions and finding out about all of this. Yeah. And then the first reaction is always frustration, angry, depression. You want to share it with everybody, but nobody wants to listen.
Yes, I've been through those stages also. I just realized that as I've seen other people going through the stages that I've been, it's usually the first stage is curiosity. The second stage is just like researching and finding out how cruel the world is. and just like getting frustrated, getting angry, and you can either remain in this stage, just researching, just using your logical mind to see all the bad and all the hatred and all of this, or you can go to the other stage where you see the higher perspective of everything, and then you realize that actually everything is perfect.
Perfect.
Yes, I was reading in Conversation with God. It's one of the books that was one of the most fascinating ones that I liked. He was explaining that everything is perfect in life. It's just that we don't know it's perfect because we don't know the reason behind it. We don't know why certain things are happening. So he was explaining that everything is happening for us to discover who we really are. And just by reading that, I was always trying to see the perfection in life. Even if I don't understand it at the moment, I know that at one point I'll get it.
Or maybe not use the word perfect, because perfect sounds so like over the top. There's no need for improvement. It's already the best. But maybe exchange the word with like the beauty or the nature or whatever the situation. Ending, because I think there's always everything can be improved. It's just a continuous moment going on and on and on and on and on, and we can just improve and try to reach perfection, but it doesn't really compute. Perfect. If everything would be perfect, we would all be like surfing on cloud 9 and
Well, for me, I have another perspective. You know that usually people say that nothing is perfect.
Yeah.
Well, nothing is perfect compared to what? Because you need to compare it to something in order to know what perfection is. So it's usually like that, because when we say
how it is, exactly, yeah, like it's okay.
Yeah, but from my perspective, I still believe that everything that is happening is perfect, even if we don't understand it at that moment, because it's pretty hard to, especially if your perspective is limited, to see the higher perspective that is happening in your life.
Exactly, and we don't need to understand everything. We just gotta keep on going and try to reach our potential and do the best we can.
Yes, exactly. What I think that is the most important thing that we must do is follow our intuition, especially just follow our gut feeling, because our gut feeling is
it's like the solar plexus.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a metaphysical ability, like your intent, like what you said, gut feeling. You go with your intention. Those are metaphysical abilities, but people are not aware of it, that they are. You try to do this. Why are you doing this? Yeah, I just went with my gut feeling. Yeah, you use your metaphysical ability to go with whatever feels right with you. And we have to learn to trust our senses like that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, our body has like incredible intelligence, but we as our minds, our egos, our personalities, we don't believe in our body. We don't believe when our gut feelings, because we're always like the mind or the ego is always preparing for the future and is always like afraid of what will happen and all of this.
Calculate what doesn't exist.
Yes, and is always preparing for situations that may or may not happen, or even like imaginary dangers. However, if we just listen to our bodies will tell us in advance if there is a real danger or just if it's nothing to worry about. So I think it's very important to just, like I'll say, drop from the logical mind into our body, gut, heart, because we don't use that anymore.
Yeah. Like we don't learn to, or we lose the ability to use these things, or we've been put down while we're growing up, while we're going through education, and people are, forced to think with their logical, materialistic mind, and that's what screws people up.
Yes, it's habit. We're creatures of habit.
Yeah. I see the time is already like over an hour, and I don't know if this room will shut down in any minute. So I think about putting this to an end here right now, and we should
That's fine.
continue and catch up next episode. I'll let you know, text you, and any last conclusions to sum this up today? What should this episode be called?
Be curious.
Be curious. Wait, be curious. The insanity of our minds, or no, be curious. The mind-controlled society. Something like that.
Or simply just be curious, or be curious of your mind, something like this.
All right, Dragos, it was so amazing to see you again, to be chatting with you, and I will see you probably next week. And thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time, and talk to you later.
Yes, thank you so much. It was great. Cheers. Have a great day.